up, YouTube? Topaz Jace back for another album review, and this one is that I'm Amine, Good For You. And yes, that's how you pronunciate it, just based off of how he says this on his own album. But overall, I'm giving this one the yellow light because it's not terrible, but honestly, nothing about it really catches my attention all like that. Really, it was after I listened to it like for the 4th or 5th time that I started to break down the lyrics, because all of it just became background music to me. And once you start breaking down the lyrics and the concepts and everything that he's trying to say here, that's when you begin to understand the substance level that he has within his skill set. It's just the music overall just isn't that entertaining. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with this guy, he's a double XL freshman class member for this past year, which he broke through with a song called Caroline, which is on this album right here. Which Caroline, it stands out because it is rather unique, but yet it's not dope in any stretch of the imagination. But to classify his music, you can put him in the same basket as MCs like Lil Yachty or d.r.a.m, people who making positive music in this day and age for the youth, but yet it's not commercialized trap rap, man. You can put him like right there with them. But yet, honestly, I feel as though he's the superior act to them. But the way I feel about it is, just because the music industry is terrible doesn't mean that I'll accept anything, you dig? Like, you still need to have a standard level of skills, and he just isn't quite there yet, even though it seems he can make it there. And there's a good selection of songs here, man, that are pretty decent, especially when you break them down. It's just each and every one of them has their own issues to it that holds them all the way back. Like, let me start with my favorite songs off of this, starting with Spice Girl. Now, on this one, it's very simple of what he's trying to do. He's trying to talk about an individual female that he's looking for, and which he's trying to define her based on Spice Girls songs and stuff from back in the day. And that's unique because not very many of this upcoming generation that's within hip hop and all of that actually understand who they were, which they were like one of the biggest pop groups there was back in the day, man. But the thing is, he's not doing it on the highest level possible. Like, he's only referencing but 1 or 2 songs throughout this entire thing. And he references them in many ways, like when he's saying zigga zigga or tell me what you want, what you really, really want. He's referencing all of that, in which all of this was off that song Wanna Be. He also references Viva Forever and shouts out 3 of the members. See, a better lyricist would have been more thorough with the research and actually put much more of the references within here with some doper punchlines, which is, these are things that he didn't do, but I still feel as though it was a decent song as the production and what he tried to do here, it meshes pretty well. My next favorite song is Money, in which on this one he's pretty much telling us exactly how much of an influence money has on him, exactly how much he cares for having a whole bunch of money, and the best way to put it is in his own words. Like when he said, when is it that he feels as though he's rich? That's when his mother can no longer go to work. Like, he wouldn't let her do that, he'll tell her to quit. And that's pretty deep because he's pretty much saying that money has no value to me, all like that, but yet having it would be nice to get my family up out of where they're at and such. And that's when he'll deem himself a success. How he said that he doesn't need a rollie because he got a phone. And that's pretty deep as well. Because when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, when you buying these expensive watches and all that, it's pretty much just a fashion statement, because you can tell the time based off of cell phones, and cell phones are like the most important thing that a lot of people this generation need. So he's pretty much telling us that having money being his fashion statement as his means to get women and all that, that's not really what he goes for. In which he is talking some pretty deep stuff, but yet this overtly shows his limitations lyrically, because dope lyricists can be able to take deep things and make solid punchlines around it, while yet his fall rather flat. Like when he said that you can't put dirt on me, man, I'm not around soil. The way he put that was, it was like the dopest punchline that he did. And I understand what he's trying to say here. Like when people try to throw dirt on your name, pretty much try to crap on you, or how people try to find dirt on you, or pretty much try to find your secrets to expose them to the world, or blackmail you, or do whatever they want with it. That's what he's referencing to, and he's saying that he doesn't have any soil on him or anything like that, so you really can't find anything. And which, that was cool train of thought, but the way he put it was like the worst possible way, especially when you're trying to make it into a punchline. And then when he expresses what he won't do for some money and saying he's not Joanna Man, and that was kind of cool when you think about it. For those of you who don't know that movie, kind of a weird movie. especially the premise of it is a guy who getting suspended because he was in the NBA acting up, and because of that he couldn't get no money, but yet he needed it, so he decided to cross dress and go into the WNBA. The more you think about it, the weirder it becomes. But he's ultimately saying that he's not going to betray himself in order to chase after money like d.r.a.m was doing, which, interesting train of thought, not a good punchline though. Yet it was a deep concept and the production was pretty decent. It overall worked as a song, but it wasn't a phenomenal song because it had so many issues. The next song that I rather liked was that Heebie Jeebies and such, where he did a duet with Kalani, I believe is how you pronounce her name, man. And you know, it worked for what it is. But when you look at it like, okay, neither one of these people can actually sing like that, but they're trying to come in together to do a duet, that ultimately is flawed from the beginning. As the concept is rather basic here, talking about a strong attraction that you have with an individual, simply put, because they're different and you really enjoy them. And you know, that's cool. It worked as a song. It's not that deep, but yet it kind of works. But it has its own fundamental flaws as well. But those are like by far the best songs off of this joint, and they're not that strong. But there are some other songs on here we need to talk about. Like the song Yellow featuring Nelly. Yes, that Nelly from St. Louis. Produced by Pharrell. Like, you wouldn't notice that if you were just listening to the song, like, cause the song is pretty bad, you dig? It sounds nothing like something produced by Pharrell. And if you're really not listening, you won't catch that Nelly was even on there, as he was doing some background vocals and such, man. And then he was helping out on the bridge and all of that. But ultimately, you're not getting a full verse from him. And you know, when you put those names together, you would think that this would be like one of the bigger name type songs. Like, this could honestly have been a single based on the amount of money they had to pay on getting it. But it just blends in, it's not that good. What it's ultimately talking about is stunning here, as he's pretty much talking about how he's not the type to go out here and stunt, but yet every so often, why not? Because he got it, let me go ahead and live my life, and I got nothing against that. Except for when you look at certain stories, like say the Frank Lucas story, where he was doing good until that one day his wife decided to tell him to stunt, and that's when the feds got on him immediately. Like, there are certain instances where you shouldn't shine regardless, but yet I can't be mad at anybody who's trying to live their lives, who got their money legitimately and all of that, man. As he's pretty much saying, the reason why he named this song Yellow is with one particular line that he got in there, said that he's wearing yellow on yellow because yellow to him is what purple is to Prince and such, man. Which, interesting train of thought, but not a very good line there either. But yet, that's the basic concept. And the last song I want to talk about is that Wedding Crashers featuring Offset on there. And the reason why I want to talk about this one is because this just shows that he can be really petty. Like, this is overall just a super petty song. Because if you're not paying attention to the lyrics, you're going to think that it's something other than what it is. Like, I can honestly see a younger generation person who really hasn't listened to the lyrics actually play this at their wedding, when this is overtly just him clowning on his ex-women. He's pretty much saying that I hope you get married and I hope you play this song, because he's making it sound like a wedding song while he's ragging on these individual women. Like, that was super petty, and the way he did it, it may confuse some people, and which that made it rather entertaining because of that. But in the end, it wasn't that good of a song though. Overall, this album, the best way I can explain it is meh. Because honestly, it's not bad. It's not so bad that I would look at it like this is the worst thing to happen to hip-hop. Like, a lot of people were pointing at this current generation and all that. Like, he's honestly standing above that with his skill level. But yet, all of the music, man, it blends in together. It honestly isn't very strong at all. And that's why I'm giving this joint a 5 out of 10. But a quick recap here, man. The positives that I'm taking from this is some of the concepts were pretty cool, man. But the negatives is there's not very much lyricism, and the overall project just isn't very good, you dig? But this concludes today's review, man. And now we're going to jump into a brief instrumental from underground producer Sosa Stacks before we jump into the news and then jump into an article from downloadpads.com. Following this whole Meek Mill and Trick Daddy situation that has been happening and such. For those who haven't know, there was some lyrics that Meek Mill sent out there talking about how he put on people in Miami, and Trick Daddy took offense to that as he took to Instagram making a super mad video and all of that, man, and saying that, you know, his visa has expired, like he can no longer come to Miami. And Meek Mill responded to it like, man, you know, the OGs out here, you come directly and talk to somebody respectful or whatever. If you got an issue with them, come directly to them. You don't try to show out on Instagram. And Meek Mill has a point. And here's my overall thing, man. Like, Trick Daddy out here, he got the streets. People got to know that he got the streets. People respect him out there in Miami. It's all good. But in the end, where was all this gangstertude when Zimmerman was out there killing Trayvon and still walking around free? Like, where was this, you're not allowed in Miami no more, or else we're gonna come and get you? Like, that's what my overall issue is with it. And that's why I feel as though Meek Mill, he can still do whatever he want to, in my opinion. But anyway, on to today's article from d.r.a.m. And today's article is about how the rap game is like playing a game like NBA 2K and such. Because here's the thing. Do you think you can just stop playing NBA 2K for like 2K 15, 16, 17, but when 2K 18 come out, you're going to be able to sit down and play that game and dominate like you once did in 2K 15? Doesn't quite work that way, because throughout all of these years, the game slightly does change. Like, some mechanics are no longer the same. Some plays do not work the same anymore. You're going to have to sit down for hours and hours to get your skills back, you dig? But sadly, people don't think of it like that when it comes to the rap game. You think that, okay, I was once a hot rapper. I was once making hot lyrics, but I stopped writing. I stopped doing all of these things that I was supposed to be doing for years. But now I got the urge to come back to the game, and then they just get back to writing and such, and they think that they're just as hot as they was back in the day, when no, you lost those skills, dude. Like, this is the way that God works. Like, if you're not working on the gifts that you have, then you're going to lose them. As the game continues to progress, you're going to continue to fall behind. So overall, man, you have to continue to maintain your skills or lose them. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow me at Twitter up there, and you can go to downloadpads.com, that's down there, to read today's article.